What's going on, guys? It is Wednesday, March the 31st, and that means it's time for my news radar. Before we get started, I want to really quickly point out that only about 29% of you guys and gals out there who watch my content are actually subscribed. So if you like my content, if you enjoy it, please do hit that subscribe button because it does go a long ways towards helping the channel. Thank you. So obviously, a lot of you are fans of Microsoft's Surface Duo. And honestly, there's really only one reason to love the Surface Duo. And it's because, of course, it has two screens instead of one. And the things that you were enabled to do by having two discrete, big, beautiful screens on a mobile handset are really incredible. They really can't be replicated fully through any other means. Software is great, but it can never quite reach the height of having two screens. To this point, the only two companies that have released a dual-screened smartphone have been Windows and then, of course, LG, who has released a series of phones that are compatible with the LG dual-screen case, which you can see a photo of here. Simply dropping your phone into this case then enables you to have a second full screen. So we actually tested the LG V60 ThinQ with the dual screen case many months ago and thought it was quite a solid phone. And I know that some of you out there are using devices like this LG G8X, of course the LG Velvet, also compatible with the dual screen case. This is all well and good and really cool. I've always loved how LG was always out front experimenting, doing some really strange things. And in fact, their dual screen case does predate the Surface Duo. Well, in terms of actually being released on the market. That's great. However, this is not great. I've got some really potentially disappointing news because, as we all know, LG's phone division has been suffering some pretty big problems as of late, leading to LG actually seeking a buyer for their phone division. Basically, LG wants to get out of making phones and they wanted to sell the brand to another maker who could then carry on after they were stepping aside, so to speak. There haven't been any real successful talks happening with LG in terms of selling off their phone brand, and that is leading to headlines like this. LG might discontinue software support for existing phones after exiting the market. And this news is coming from Frontron on Twitter, who is a fairly reliable leaker. So I'm just going to read his tweets here to you directly on Twitter so you get the full context. He says, remaining employees in the LG MC division will be assigned to the Changwon home appliance factory next week. This is the procedure of dismantling the entire 4,000 employees of the LG phone division. Rollable was an unfinished model used to increase the sale price, but since the buyer and seller can't agree with the selling price, the sale of LG MC is not concluded as, quote, withdraw from the market as shown in the press. Even after they said they will continue the software updates, it is unlikely to be done in this situation. It is in many ways unfortunate that the LG phone, which started with the feature phone, ends with the wing. Final official statement from LG is expected to be announced next Monday. So basically, nobody wants to buy LG's mobile phone division. They tried to make that rollable concept to say, hey, look at this really cool thing we're making. You can take that over, maybe drive up that price a little bit, try to reinvigorate interest in their phone division, and those efforts have evidently failed as no one is interested in buying LG's phone division. And because of that, software updates are just not going to continue. So if you've just bought the LG Wing or any other LG phone, you're pretty much dead in the water. And that is absolutely horrifyingly unfortunate. Now, this is far from shocking news. I think a lot of us were maybe expecting this to be the way that things were going to go, but it is extremely disappointing to see LG go this way. So let's step over into the world of T-Mobile just a little bit, because T-Mobile's done a lot of really big things in the last handful of months or even the last year and a half or so. First off, they bought out Sprint, which has made them a much, much larger competitor to stand up to AT&T and Verizon here in the States. Then, just a few months ago, they announced their own live television streaming service called TVision. Well, now we've got another big piece of news here because T-Mobile is partnering directly with Google. And by partnering, what I really mean is probably taking copious amounts of money from Google to push some big googly things through their channels. And the first big one that really made me laugh was that TVision is dead. TVision is already going away, I think 6 months in, to be replaced with YouTube TV. That's going to be what they're going to be pushing. Here's the headline. Here's the article from The Verge. T-Mobile is betting big on Google's Android services, RCS, YouTube TV, Pixel, and more. So let's just read from the article here written by Amelia Holowati. Google and T-Mobile are announcing a huge partnership today, with the carrier agreeing to showcase the suite of Google services on Android phones sold on the carrier's network. Maybe they should say the uncarrier's network, right? The list includes officially supporting Google's Android messages with RCS, which is a really cool thing, actually. I really am a big fan of RCS. They're going to support this on all of their Android phones. So if you buy a Samsung phone through T-Mobile, rather than having Samsung's messaging app, it's going to have Google Messages on it instead, which is, maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. I use Google Messages by default because I think it's just the best option, and RCS in that is really good. If you don't know what RCS is, it stands for Rich Chat Services. And what it does is it basically gives you iMessage-like features on your Android device. So you don't send your messages over SMS, they go over your data. So they get there much faster. Images are far less compressed. You can send longer, less compressed videos, voice messages, and you get read or read receipts and things like that. It's a really good system, and I think that if it's adopted widely, it will bring Android messages onto par with iMessage, which has always been the thing Apple has lorded over our Android heads. Continuing, as I said earlier, they are dropping T-Mobile's own TV services for YouTube TV, and they'll be showcasing Google One as the default backup service for their phones and expanding support and sales of Google hardware like Pixel. So they're going to be pushing Pixels in their stores much more going forward. Now, if you guys remember, Verizon early on was the premier partner for Google Pixel, but that never really went anywhere. So maybe this partnership will do better than the Verizon partnership. And I think it's possible because T-Mobile is still trying to kind of become that big competitor for T-Mobile and Verizon. And maybe this will be a way to differentiate themselves and do something a little bit different. As they said here, perhaps the biggest story in this is that T-Mobile is shutting down TVision in favor of YouTube TV. T-Mobile customers will get a whopping $10 off that service, which is, it's relatively expensive now, so I guess $10 is something. And as they also mentioned here, 3 months free of YouTube Premium, which is something I also do use. So who knows, maybe the next time you walk into a T-Mobile store, it will be plastered wall to wall with Google Pixels and all sorts of googly things like that. And let's end today's episode with a news story that brings some joy and happiness to my heart. As someone who does play competitive online games like Warzone, I hate cheaters. If I could snap my fingers and round up every video game cheater on the planet and huck them into a volcano, I would do so. It drives me absolutely insane, especially in a game like Warzone where the hacking and cheating is incredibly prevalent. People have the ability to see you through walls, lock onto your head with their gun, so no aiming is necessary, all sorts of fun things like that. It absolutely ruins the experience for anybody trying to play this game or trying to enjoy it. Well, Tencent, who is a absolutely massive entity in the gaming world, has partnered with the Chinese police to tackle the world's largest hacking distributor. The Chinese police, known as Kunshan Police, were working with Tencent Games to take down the biggest cheat provider based in China. They were jailed and around $46 million in assets were seized. This is the biggest game cheating provider ever. 17 websites, 10 resellers. These cheats were being used in games like Valorant and Overwatch, which of course is going to bring some concern from Tencent because these are games and companies that they have some stake in, so it's something they're not going to like. These companies, this hacking company, was netting $10,000 a day from their hacks because these freaking losers who have to cheat at video games were charging from $10 a day to $200 a month for a subscription key to access the hacks that they were selling. What an unbelievably stupid thing for people, one, to want to do, and two, to pay for. I think it's actually really important here to note that these cheaters are not just ruining the experience of other people trying to play the game, but they're also using these cheats to make money. So if you're wondering, why would someone pay money to get cheats? Well, think about it like this. What if you're a streamer and you want everybody to think, oh, wow, how great is this person at this game? Well, if you can cheat in a way that is not super noticeable, maybe using something like ESP where you can know where the other players are so you can round a corner and pre-fire. Oh, he just really knows the map. Things like that. Well, that's a way to potentially actually defraud people out of their donations. Maybe they'll support you because they think you're great. Well, that's even worse now, isn't it? So guys, that's all the news I have for you today. Be sure to check back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next News Radar. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.